Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss about GCD, how we can calculate it, what is the logic behind to calculate GCD, and how we can calculate this GCD in C++, Java, and Python programming language. So let's dive in. So guys, what is GCD? GCD means greatest common divisor. It is also known as HCF in our maths. We have already learned about HCF in our lower classes. Let's understand this GCD with an example. So I have two numbers 16 and 12 and I want to find a GCD. So we know that the greatest common divisor, or we can say highest common factor, is 4. This 4 completely divide our 16 and 12. So that's why this 4 is the greatest common divisor, or we can say highest common factor. Not any number greater than 4 can completely divide this 16 and 12. And how we can calculate this GCD? In math, we have already familiar with one idea, that is finding of factors and then finding out the common. So let's quickly do that first. So for 16, we have a factor 2 into 2 into 2 into 2. And for 12, we have a factor 2 into 2 into 3, right? So after that, we are going to find a common. So the common here we have 2 and here also we have common 2. Not any other common we are having. So we are going to multiply this 2 into 2 is 4. So we come to know that 4 is the GCD or HCF of this 16 and 12. So this is how we can calculate this. This is the basic and brute force. We can also implement this, but it is going to be very expensive in terms of time complexity and space complexity. So let's quickly see what is the another way to calculate GCD efficiently. So guys, the one way is by subtraction. So let's say we have two number A and B, and the A is going to store a bigger number 16 and B is going to store a smaller number, let's say 12. Now guys, we are going to subtract this bigger number by this smaller number. So we are going to get now A 4 and B is 12. And in the next iteration, we are going to pass the same argument by swapping it. So A will store 12 because it is a greater number and B is going to store at 4. Okay. Now we can see that 12 is a greater number. So we will subtract this 12 by 4 and we are going to say 12 minus 4 is 8 and B is going to remain same 4. Again we are going to pass this argument. So this time guys we are going to say A is going to store again 8, or you can swap it also, but I'm going to keep it a greater one. So A is going to store greater one and B is going to store smaller one, that is 4. Once you subtract A minus 4, that is also you are going to get 4 and B is also 4. Now guys, we are getting the same value. So in the next iteration, definitely we are going to get 0. No matter where you are going to pass. If you want to pass by swap, then again you will get the same data. If you don't pass by swapping, that also you will get the same data. Once we subtract 4 minus 4, we are going to get 0 and again 4. So now if you get anywhere 0 on A or B, then you can see that guys, we are getting a value of GCD on the other number. So here I am getting a B0. That means I can say the number which is storing A is going to be my GCD. That is 4. I hope you understood it. We are going to subtract a bigger number by a smaller number, and after that we are going to pass in a new iteration, and we are going to keep checking until and unless we don't get a zero value. So once we got a zero value, so the value which is present in another variable is going to be our GCD. But this is also not a best approach. Let's see the next best approach. So guys, again we are having A and B, and this time A again is storing a 12 and B is storing 16. Here doesn't matter which is storing a greater or smaller number. So A is storing a 12, B is 16. We are going to use a modulus operator here. We have discussed about here subtraction operator. Here we are going to use a modulus operator. So now guys, once we divide this 12 by 16, we are getting a remainder again 12, right? A is going to be again 12 and B remains same 16. So in the next iteration we are going to swap it. So again we got A 16 and B 12. Now you can see that it automatically took greater number at the first and smaller number at the second, even if you are passing a smaller number at the first. Now guys, again we are going to divide this 16 by 12. So we are getting remainder 4 and B remains same. Let's quickly move to the next iteration. Now A will store 12 and B will store 4. We are again dividing this 12 by 4. We are getting a remainder 0 and this one will remain same. Now guys, in the next iteration you can see that A is what 4 and B is 0. So you can see that we got a value B0. Once we got a value B0, that means that another variable which store the data, that is going to be our GCD. So here we can say that 4 is our GCD. So this is how you can calculate GCD by using a modulus operator. And guys, we know that here just we are using a recursion. We are calling the same function again by swapping the data. And when we are getting a value B0, then we can say that whatever the value stored in our A variable, that is going to be our GCD. I hope you understood it. If you didn't understood, don't worry. We are going to do a code with C++, Java and Python programming language. And I believe you will understand there definitely. So here guys, first of all, we are going to find GCD with the Python programming language. So I'm going to take A is a 16, or you can take B 12 as well, and B is 12. So we are going to create a one function that is going to be GCD. So I'm going to give a function name get GCD. Alright, this is going to take a value a and b as a parameter. And here what we are doing, we are saying that if v is 0, that means you have to return our a because a is storing a GCD. But if it is not 0, then you have to divide this a by b and you have to keep a remainder, right? So what we are going to do, we are going to say a remainder rem is going to be equal to a modulus b, right? And after that we are going to call the same function get GCD. Here we are going to pass a value as a b but b value as a remainder. So you can say return get GCD b comma remainder, and we can change this a modulus b by a remainder and we can remove this line. I hope you understood it. Now guys, let's quickly call this function and see the output. So I'm going to say print get GCD of a comma b, and let's run this code. You guys can see that I'm getting 4. If I change some value, let's say this time 162 and 122. Oh, let's run this code now again. You guys can see that here I'm getting a 2, means 2 is the greatest common divisor which completely divides this 162 and 122. Alright guys, so let's move to C++ programming language. So here first of all write has include bit slash stdc++.h. After that using a namespace standard. Alright, and here we are going to write main function. Let's say return 0. So here again we are going to take two value, integer a which is going to store 12 and integer b which is going to store 16. Okay, and we are going to call the same function get GCD, and this is going to return us a GCD. We are going to print that as well. Let's quickly create this function. So I'm going to say int get GCD and int a int b. Here we are going to say if b is equal to 0, that means a is storing our GCD, so return a. But if it is not the case, then return get GCD. Here we are going to pass a value by swapping it. So a will store b and b will store the remainder when we divide a by b. So we can say a modulus b. Alright, so let's quickly run this and see the output. You guys can see that I got output 4. That means 4 is the GCD of this 16 and 12. Again, we are going to do with this 122 and 162. Let's see the GCD of this one. And earlier we have seen that was 2. So this time also we should get 2. You can see that I got value 2. So this is also perfectly working fine. And don't worry guys, this is an error. My file path is not correct. Ignore this one. Now guys, it's time to move to a Java programming language. And here let's quickly create a class main function. Alright, and here again we are going to say a is 12 and int b is 16. And we are going to print our function get GCD, which will take two value a and b as a parameter. Alright, so let's quickly define this function as well. So I'm going to write here int get GCD, and here I'm going to say int a int b. Alright, and let's make it a static. Okay, now guys, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say if b is 0, that means you have to return us a because a is our GCD. If it is not the case, then you have to call this function again get GCD, and this time a is going to store our value b and b is going to store the value which is the remainder when we divide a by b. Alright, so here I have forgot to give a space. Let me give it. Now let's quickly run this code and see whether this is correct or not. Before that, let me put here semicolon. Alright guys, so let's see the code. I got one error. Okay, I forgot to save that particular file. Now let's run this code. You guys can see that I got value 4. That means 4 is the GCD of 12 and 16. If I write some more value, let's say again 162 and 122. Let's run this one. You guys can see that I got 2. That means it is also working fine. So guys, this is all in this video. We have seen how we can calculate the GCD. If you learn something new in this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe my channel. Meet you in the next video.